occur early in the day when your willpower muscle is rested. The last thing you want to do is think that you have willpower at the end of the day to do your workout before bed, when in reality you've been checking emails, having conversations with coworkers, defending your ideas and opinions all day. Your willpower is done for. It's weak. It's fatigued. You need rest. That's why if your focus is working out and getting healthy, you should be doing those things first thing in the morning when your willpower is rested. The concept we need to take from this book is that we need to focus on one thing, our primary goal. Whether that be in our personal life, our health, our work life, whatever it is, we need to find one goal and to focus on that one goal and get rid of multitasking. Keller provides the reader a question, which he calls his focusing question, which you ask yourself in order to determine what you should be doing right now and whatever goal that you're trying to achieve. And the question is that, what's the one thing I can do such that by doing it, everything else will be easier or unnecessary? That one question does so much. It focuses you on your big picture, the one thing that you're trying to work towards. But it asserts that you're going to be doing something right now, taking action right now. And it makes you think to yourself, what is the most important thing to do right now that's going to have a positive effect on your long-term goal? If your long-term goal is to get a chiseled body or a six-pack, and you're standing in the grocery store trying to decide what you're going to eat for dinner, the one thing that you could do right now is go buy a salad. When you walk by the Oreo aisle, the one thing that you could do right then is pass by without picking up a bag. When you're driving home from the grocery store and pass by McDonald's, the one thing you could do is not turn into it. When you get home and after you eat the salad, you're trying to figure out what you're going to do that night, the one thing you can do is to work out. Go for that 1.5 mile run. Do some sit-ups, do some crunches, do some push-ups. Always ask yourself and reevaluate, what's the one thing you can do right now such that by doing it, everything else will be easier or unnecessary? There's so many other concepts and ideas in this book.
We will stop it right there. Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming in. Hey, let's use the chat today. Thank you, Monica, for saying hello. If you're in, please say hi.
State your name. Tell us where you're from.
Yes.
It's like Price is Right.
I know. All right, let's get this started.
Yeah, you heard me.
Hey, everyone. We have a very important person that decided to come back today, but he's sitting all the way over there. Come and say hi, Russ. There you go. Hey.
Buenos dias.
Yes. I know we don't have Kelly today,
Yeah.
but
Amigos.
I will do this all in Spanish. No, it's okay. So, hey, Russ, nice to see you back.
Thank you.
I know you wanted to talk to us about co-broker agreements today.
Yeah, just quickly. How many people know what a co-broker agreement is?
Stephanie does.
Stephanie Bueller. Okay, so basically, if you are going to sell something that is listed with a different MLS, then there isn't the inherent commitment to each office that you are going to get paid. That's kind of an unusual thing. We often think of the state of Washington, like we're all licensed real estate agents, that we're all going to work together, but that's not always the case. There are some people that say, hey, if you're not in my MLS, I'm not going to pay you. So it's important to get the co-brokerage agreement before you get too excited about writing deals and showing property, if you're showing property outside of the MLS that you belong to. Also, there's people that don't belong to any MLSs. They're not realtors. They're just real estate agents and licensed with the DOL. So if they have a listing, they don't have to pay you anything unless they're offering it somewhere And that's typically going to be found in the co-broker agreement, which is 41C. I had to cheat. I had to ask Stephanie. 41C. But anyway, just thought I'd bring that up because we often do deals on both sides of the mountains, and most of the time it's Northwest MLS, but just be careful if you see something happening that they're not in the Northwest MLS, double check that. That's it.
Awesome, thank you. I don't know much about that, guys, so I need help, okay? Okay, so today we are celebrating Joanna. Yes, she had capped already, but she capped on Company Dollar and Royalty, so congratulations.
Nice work,
Yeah.
Joanna.
Honestly, like when I think the word client appreciation, I think about Joanna. Every time that she's in here in the office, she's thinking about awesome things that she's doing for her clients. Thank you cards, I mean, anything. She's either talking to me about her clients or about her referrals. So I'm not surprised that she reached her goal on capping. So congratulations, Joanna. All right, Sarah, let's get on with Ignite After Dark. Yes, sorry.
Lauren has a question about the brokerage.
Oh, okay, can you, oh, I need to share my chat.
I
was like, why isn't the chat there? Okay.
All
So
right,
Russ
what's up?
isn't the part of the listing agreement. Oh, right here.
It depends on which listing agreement they're using. They may not be using the standard forms that we use. So it's just important to double check. If they're in the Northwest MLS, then yeah, or if they're even in Flex, most likely. But if there's two separate MLSs, it's just a really good idea to double check.
Thanks for clarifying that. So like Spokane MLS or just not part of any MLSs at all, but just acting as an agent.
Right, and most designated brokers, most people are gonna think it's bad business practices to not work together. But
Mhm.
sometimes you run across either just kind of a rogue agent, or maybe they feel like this is my project, like a project development, and I'm just not gonna share the information. So in those cases, before you get down the road too far, always good to double check. And if there
So we
isn't,
just treat it like a FISBO,
yeah,
because you come to a FISBO with a 41C. Okay, perfect.
you bet. Good question.
Awesome.
Gotta make sure you get paid.
Yes.
$1.
All right, Ignite After Dark starts today.
Be there, be square. A really long announcement for that. It starts this afternoon. Here's the schedule. I sent the link out in an email yesterday to everybody. I think I sent it to everyone and their mom. There was almost 100 emails, I think, but so that starts today. It's every Tuesday. I will definitely be on it. Like I told you last time, I'm really excited because it's they switch up which map coach teaches it every once in a while. So it's kind of cool. You're getting a few different teachers on there. And it is going to be automatic enrollment for all of the new agents. So if I have any of those on here, don't forget to be there. I will see you. And if you guys have any questions, of course, just let me know. But I think it's pretty self-explanatory. Yeah.
And then tomorrow, we're meeting here, right?
Oh, yes. Yep. Broker store.
Anybody,
Tomorrow at 9 o'clock.
yeah, on the call
Seth
that's
and
coming.
Seth and I went last week. Seth will be here again tomorrow.
We need people. So please, if you're around the area, meet us here at 9. So Prime Lending is not here today, but they will be back next week. We are planning some trainings for you guys, so that's going to be exciting. Do miss them.
Kelly said it looks a bit like you in the picture for the.
Thanks, that was the point. Thank you. I'm glad it does look like her. Family reunion, anybody else that we don't know that's coming? Because we have like 18 people now going, and our Airbnb is full now, which is awesome. But is there anybody else that's going or that's going online?
I decided to go.
Thanks, Sarah.
I may or may not pull the trigger.
All right, Stephanie. So we have our contracts class starting right after sales rally. And Stephanie was going to share some important classes that we can all be on this week. Can I make you co-host actually?
I'm already.
But you already are, yes.
Yeah. So you have to stop sharing your screen so I can share my screen. Okay, guys, so just a quick rundown on how to find the classes on Northwest MLS in case you forgot. So you go to your Northwest MLS home, and then you go to classes, and then you could do instructor-led classes, self-paced classes, virtual ones, live webinars, and then more information. So the self-paced classes are Matrix 1, Essentials, Listing Input, New Subscriber Orientation, Northwest MLS Rules and Regs, Transaction Desk Foundations, and Transaction Desk 2 Advanced Features. And you don't have to pay for them because you can do them without getting clock hours for them if you want to. We had talked about doing the Transaction Desk 2 Advanced Features here at the office on Friday. If anybody's interested in coming in and doing that to learn a little bit more about Transaction Desk, especially because it's changed a little bit, that could be a fun one to do. We're going to do it at what time did we decide?
Noon to 3.
Noon to 3 on
And Russ
Friday.
is buying lunch.
Russ is buying lunch, apparently. Noon to 3. And
Tacos for everyone.
this will not be on Zoom because it's already a self-paced class. So we're just doing it at the office just to kind of get together and see faces and do it for fun. So any questions about that? Okay.
Thank you so much.
Yep.
Thank you very much. So here is this Friday. So meet at the office at 12, and we are going to be reviewing all of that fun stuff. Awesome. Okay, so K-Prep and K-School, we currently have 47 students enrolled. We have one that already passed her exam and is starting all of her onboarding documents. We have 2 that are scheduling their exam. So it's super, super exciting. Again, if you know anyone that has always wanted to be a real estate agent, somebody that you feel that really aligns with our culture and that you think would love to be part of KW, send me a text, send me an email, include them, just give me their phone number and their email, and I'll reach out to them. The no ceilings level up your lead generation. I'm actually going to play the rest of that video for you guys. Just give me a minute, because I think I memorized this now.
And grows.
You can see.
Let's take a sneak peek now at the lead gen and database model that we're building for the Millionaire Real Estate Agent second edition. If you haven't seen it, I'm going to walk through it at a high level. In the second course around the database, we'll go deeper. But at a really high level, realize that there's really only about 4 steps. In the beginning, it's about lead generation and lead capture. You're going to be prospecting and marketing so that you can capture leads and sometimes contacts. A lead is someone who you believe is interested in possible real estate services, but you haven't yet established a two-way conversation. Maybe you have an address of someone who is a for sale by owner, right? It's a contact that you can now reach out to, an address, a phone number, a text of someone you think might be a good prospect. The moment you have a two-way conversation in your database, they become a contact. And as great real estate agents, we'll be asking permission, right, to follow up with them. If I find a great deal for you, can I have your permission to follow up, or can I share an email? Essentially, you're entering a permission-based relationship where they're more likely to open your emails and communications and take your calls, and you know that you're in the real estate business. Finally, there will be some that'll jump straight into new or repeat business, right? But a lot of them will be in this stage through. You have to help them prepare to move forward into conversion. Think about this as a buyer who maybe has to work on their credit score before they can go out and buy. Maybe it's someone who has to save up for a down payment before they can do that. Maybe it's a listing, right, that wants to improve their home, to stage it properly, to make different improvements before they put it on the market. Maybe they want to wait until the spring when their kids are out of school before they decide that they want to go ahead and put it on the market. In either case, this third stage is where you would move them into a very specific plan to prepare them to take the next step towards buying or selling. And finally, you get the fruits of your labor, right? You'll get new and repeat business from your database because at the very beginning, that foundation, we did our lead generation to get that information and have the right to follow up with them through this process. The basis of everything, and this one, it's on the top, it is lead generation. That's what gets everything going. Let's go a little bit deeper into that model and talk about what lead capture actually means. Let's break this down into its three component parts. At the beginning, we're going to be prospecting and marketing. That's the outreach, right? Either through offers or through our direct activities. We're making an offer of value, which is the second essential piece. And what we're hoping to get in return is their contact information. So let's just break this down a little bit more. There's prospecting and marketing. In all of our books, we've tried to preach, it's prospecting based and marketing enhanced. But really, you need both activities to have a healthy business, which is why later in this lesson, when you're picking your activities, we'll coach you to have a little bit of both. But prospecting is fundamentally active lead generation. This means you're investing your time to try to make connections with people who might want to buy or sell their home. That can happen through many ways. You might be networking and going to events in person and trying to connect with them that way. You might be knocking on doors. You can also prospect on social media, by text message, by phone. There's lots of ways that we can try to directly connect with people and we can invest our time to do it. Marketing is often used to enhance that activity, but it's where you invest your dollars. You might be buying an advertisement for social media. You might be putting a sign up in a prominent place. You're putting an offer out into the market using your dollars and then hoping that your prospective client is going to reply back to you. What you're offering in either of them is something of value. And I'm just going to give you some examples. And in the other parts of this series, where we go into specific versions and tactics around lead generation, you'll get very specific offers around those tactics. But here's some examples of what we're talking about. You might be inviting first-time homebuyers to come to a workshop. They want to find out more about the transaction and whether they qualify. You might be inviting sellers to get information on how best to stage their home. Maybe it's about home valuations. These are all offers of value that you would expect someone who wants to buy or sell might say, yes, that's me. Tell me more. And that's when they'll give you their contact information. And implicit in that is a permission to follow up and give them that information. That's such a huge part of moving someone, if you remember the database model, from just being a lead, right, which is someone that you think might be interested. You've now made a connection, and now you've got permission to have this ongoing conversation about real estate. That's where the magic happens in lead capture, and that's where you allow yourself the ability to follow up and work your way through the system to get that new and repeat business. So one of our goals here today is for you to identify the different prospecting and marketing activities that you're going to base your business around. So what you see here, and we have in our handout, is all the many ways that prospecting and marketing show up. And sometimes, as you can see, they show up as a combination of both. So direct prospecting, direct marketing, and in the middle, you have a little bit of both. Think about farming as a great example. When people work their farm, traditionally it used to be just postcards and mailers. But now we know the modern farmer is also going to host events. They'll be staging open houses in their farm. They'll be doing a mix of prospecting activities along with their marketing activities. Maybe they'll be knocking on doors. Maybe they'll be circle prospecting. That is an example of a lead gen strategy that involves both marketing and prospecting. Our goal here is going to be for you to look at these and ask the question, what am I already doing and doing well? And what could I be doing that would enhance each other? But this will be the working list that we'll work from throughout. But before you get overwhelmed by all of those different sources, because I can tell you, the creativity of real estate agents never ceases to amaze me. When everyone says there's not a way, they will find a way to reach new customers. So this list is ever changing and it's ever developing. But we're going to tell you to focus your efforts. We call this the rule of 4. In our research for the Millionaire Real Estate Agent, the second edition, we surveyed our top agents across the US, Canada, and the world. And what we identified is that over 80% of their business came from just their top 4 sources of leads. The truth is they did do other things, but the reality was There was a handful, actually less than a handful, 4, that was the fundamental foundation of their business. As you can see, a huge percentage of their business comes from their number 1. That's the area that they absolutely focused on, they built mastery around, and they know that they can get either new, referral, or repeat business from. And then they have secondary and third, and then so on. The reality is, if you look to the right of the graph, they're always going to be experimenting with new things, but their foundation is really around 4. The reality is top agents are always experimenting, which is why there are so many other methods that trail off to the right. But they focus on just a few, those top 4 that give them their 80%. We talk about time blocking our 20%, right? Those things that give us the 80% of our results. And it's quite literal in this example of real estate. Their top 20% of lead gen strategies gave them over 80% of their business. In the coming exercise, we're going to help you identify your top 4 moving forward so that you can build great habits around them and have 80% of your business or more come from them. All right, for this final step, you'll need 2 pieces. You'll need your top 4 worksheet, which is in the resources attached to this course. And I would advise you to grab the lead generation activities that might be a good memory jogger for you. And we're going to walk through this activity in 3 steps. As I get to each step, just pause the video, complete.
January 20th, Going Vertical, The Path to Limitless Life with Jay Papasan. Please be on KW Connect Live. We're also going to show it here. Anything you wanted to share about, Jay? Feel like you wanted to?
No, I think it's, it's one of those things that you might have been in real estate for forever, but you're always going to learn something new. And things are always changing. In fact, being learning based is the key, right? And he's one of the best. He's been around, Gary Keller, a long time. So if you want to give yourself a boost, I would just show up with an open mind and try to get those 2 or 3 nuggets out of it. That would really help.
Awesome. So January 20th, and of course, Jan Ellingson, January 27th, the 6 personal perspectives.
Yeah,
I know you have something to say about the 6 personal perspectives.
Yeah, I mean, what Jay's talking about is tactics and strategies. What Jan's talking about is mindset, and I believe mindset is everything. If you don't have the right mindset, and there's some practices around that Jan can really help you with. If you haven't seen her in person, she's worth it. I mean, there's just a handful of people that I've known for quite a while that will really influence you, and the way, not just the real estate life, but your personal life, your relationships all around, because we get so caught up in the game of real estate that we often forget the people that are most important to us. You often see in real estate a lot of divorce, a lot of addiction, a lot of things happen that is caused by this manifestation of stress. Now let's add 2 years of a world pandemic on it, and let's see how everybody's doing, right? It's this lack of certainty has been hard on people. So this 6 personal perspectives class, if there's just one class you go to a year, this is the one I would pick. So
Awesome.
and she's coming here, she's getting on a plane and coming over.
All right, we're going to do a quick little exercise. So if you're taking notes, you can just get a new piece of paper or just use your document or your phone. People here are going to work on this, and Zoomers too. Pretty simple. All I want you to do right now is make a list of all the things that you do every day or one day, your most packed day. What are you doing that day? Just make a list. Go to work, go out, I go dance, I cook, I work out. Everything that you do in a day. Background music on. I'm working on my list too. Yeah, mine is long.
We're gonna be here for like an hour.
All right, just like 30 more seconds on this list. All right, now we're gonna make another list. So get another sheet of paper, open up a new document, and I want you to write a list of things that make you happy. Everything that makes you happy. Hugging my dog, dancing, helping people, closing, getting a listing. What makes you happy? And I hope it takes you longer to create this list. Right? And you're not just, oh, I'm done. What else makes you happy? I know there's more that makes you happy because we don't think about it. I give you 30 more seconds. So guys, my homework and my challenge to you is to compare your lists and adjust accordingly. Okay, so you're going to compare the list, things you do every day, things that make you happy. Where are their gaps? Are you doing things that make you happy, or are you only just doing things that you have to do? Right? Because these little moments of joy, they're little whys, and all these little whys can come up to our big why, but we need that purpose, and without that purpose, we're going to be lost. So that's my homework to you. Compare your list and adjust accordingly. All right, moving on. Thank you for that. Our agent spotlight today, I was going to say today, is Russ. So Russ, come back over here. I'll sit over here because I'm tired of standing. You want to ask the question, Sarah?
Here for
Who,
You want to ask the question, Sarah?
who remembers the red hot seat that we used to have? Anybody remember that? Yeah, we might want to get back to that.
Yes.
Ask those crazy personal
Oh,
questions, get everybody freaked out.
I think
Oh,
you're
those
gonna
are
red.
personal questions?
Oh, yeah.
Ask him more, just because you guys are
But-
fun together.
Would you rather questions? Yeah, that was what it was.
All right,
Okay,
Sarah's
so
gonna be
then,
asking you.
right, so then your first question needs to be, what is something about you that everyone does not know?
I'm allergic to penicillin, just in case. Definitely allergic to penicillin, so don't try to save me with that. That'd be a problem.
Me too.
At least that's what they tell me. The first horse I ever rode, I was about 7 years old and I wanted a pony, a Shetland pony. And so I went to my dad, and my dad's kind of like John Wayne, just a little smaller, a lot smaller, but tough, grew up without a dad. And he said, okay, let's do it. This weekend, we'll let you ride a horse, a pony. I said, great. I didn't know he was going to take me to a junior rodeo and put me on the back of a bucking horse for the first time. He said, if you ride this one, you can maybe get another one. So that's something nobody knows about me.
Okay.
What else? Any more?
No, I thought you were gonna go into the penicillin story with that. No?
No, that-
Well, now I want to
I've
hear.
never
it.
taken penicillin. so
I'll
I
ask
don't know.
another time about the penicillin.
All right.
Let's see. If you could go back to your very, very first year as a real estate agent, what
Mhm.
would you do differently?
Would wear a suit.
You used to wear a suit?
Yeah, I used to wear a suit. In fact, when I was spring break in between my junior and sophomore and junior year in college, I didn't know what I wanted to do for a living, so I interviewed to do an internship. That's what it was, an internship. So I met with a law firm. I met with a financial firm because I was going to get a finance degree, and I thought maybe I'd be a stockbroker. And I interviewed with a real estate company. The law firm didn't hire me, and the stockbrokers didn't hire me, but the real estate broker hired me. And I went home and went, yeah, I got hired. It wasn't until years later that I realized they hire everybody. So it wasn't as cool as I thought it was. But no, I think the thing is that I would, if I had to do it over again, honestly, I got so focused and obsessed with real estate, I lost track of what was important to me. And I had a baby young. We got pregnant in college, got married, and I just kind of blew I just blew right through everything that was close to me because I was too obsessed with the deal. I just became really obsessive compulsive and I lost balance. And that led to a divorce where I had to split my kids, from 10 and 5 on every other week. And all that stuff maybe was unnecessary if I would have just taken a little step back, found some balance, really prioritized my life a little differently rather than just go at it like a football game where we just got to score more touchdowns. That's probably what I would do different.
Awesome. How long have you been in real estate?
Since I was 19 years old, which would have been like 1989.
Can you tell us about the beginning of your journey?
Yeah, well, I was back then in the glory days of the 80s when I graduated. Just put in perspective, when I graduated college, like the average salaries, I think, for a 4-year degree in like management or marketing or finance would be like 25 grand a year, right? So that would be a pretty good job getting started at a corporation. That summer going into my junior year, I made 10 grand in 90 days. And I was like, holy crap. So it got me pretty juiced up. And I remember telling my dad, I said, I think I'm just going to not do this college thing. And I think I'm just going to start selling real estate. And he goes, that'll be pretty hard for you to do. Just looking at me like laser beam. And he didn't really joke a lot. I said, why is that? And he goes, well, with 2 broken legs, it's going to be harder for you to sell real estate. I said, oh. So this point was get back to college.
Let me use that for my future children.
That was back when you could beat your kids. No, my dad didn't beat me, but he's still.
What's been the biggest deal that you've ever worked on?
The Butte in Chelan probably was a pretty big deal. I sold the Butte, which is now, at that time, it was like 1,400 acres. Right now, 900 of it's in the city limits for $4.6 million in 1999. So that was back then, 4.6 million might have well been 50 million. And nobody really thought like that, right? It was more of an Apple town. And we were kind of coming out of just apples and tourism into more of a destination, second home. We always had that, but it just started to really ramp up in the 2000s. So that was a pretty big deal. The irony is that Luke and I and another guy have an option to buy the Butte. What is that, 20 years later or 21 years later? And so we're working on it again.
Awesome.
22.
What's the most memorable deal that you've worked on?
It's ironic because for me, and we talked about my big whys, right? Because I think that's a very important thing to slow down on. And like, why are you doing what you're doing? So for me, I've always gotten more satisfaction out of helping people that nobody else would help, or a problem that needed solutions that were more creative. So probably the one that turned out to be a very important deal to me was a lady who moved back to our hometown in Manson. She went through some tough times. She had an opportunity to buy a single wide on some land, and everybody told her that couldn't be done, couldn't finance it. And just with a little creativity, where we basically just converted it to a land deal, and then I did a little simultaneous seller carry and did some stuff that was able to get her into a single wide mobile home. And that lady, probably that was like maybe 2004 or 5. She has probably given me more testimonials. She's a waitress at Mill Bay Casino than anybody I've ever met. But just the pure like appreciation for that, like to her, that was a castle. And I've just that kind of stuff really touches me. I mean, to me, that's why we're in business, right? So when you set a goal and you go, I'm going to make 100 grand a year, that's great. But when you're tired or you're stressed out or you're dealing with a jerk and you're like, why am I in this business? Or you've gone a while and you haven't made any money. What gets me going is how many people can I change? I mean, how many lives can I change today? If you can think like that, that's the big why. Then it'll motivate you through those times that you're not feeling it, right? Because everybody's in a good mood when everything's going perfect. But as we know, we're in a problem-solving business. And if it weren't for the problems, they wouldn't pay us 6%. So that just helps me. How many people can I help today?
We
You
have
should
another
take a
question.
question from the audience.
From the
Yeah.
audience.
See if there's
See
anything
if
on chat.
anybody in Zoom land wants to ask a
Hey,
question.
Zoomers, you can ask questions. Sarah had a question. If you could describe a real estate business in one word, what would that word be?
Now or like the whole thing, or like
One word.
from beginning to end?
One word.
Kinetic.
That's for sure.
A
We
storm.
wanted to stop you.
Chaos.
Perfect.
Battleground. I don't know. Good times.
The vertical zoom is at, I'll go back to that slide.
There you go.
And last question then for me would be, what advice would you give to new real estate agents or even struggling real estate agents right now?
I think the funny thing about real estate is that we make it a lot harder than it is. And most of that is because we're not clear on that this is a simple business. And it's a complex business, but it's a simple business. So like I make these kind of funny jokes like if you're a scuba diver for a living, scuba divers have to get wet to scuba dive, right? Kind of hard to stay dry if you're a scuba diver. Realtors have to lead generate. And if you're not focused on that, but what we do is we get this paralysis through analysis concept, or we multitask. It's one of the reasons that understanding what you're doing every day is so important, because if you just break it down into very simple, consistent, small steps and lead generation from 9 to 11, if you're not doing that, you're hurting yourself in a big way, because it's the consistency that you're looking for. Just like if you're going to run a marathon, you can't just go run a marathon. You got to run, just, start somewhere, focus on one or two things, keep it simple, but do it every day. And you know what? There's a class called Bold that everybody should take. I think it's like $199 now on Zoom. But at the end of these 7-week course, it's like 1 day a week for 7 weeks. If you just did this, if you just went to every single person every day of the week, and we're proud to help people, and since you're proud to offer help, you just say, hey, do you know anybody that wants to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? If you just did that, your income will jump 50 grand this year. Bet the farm on that one. Coffee shops, Safeway, if you're going to buy groceries, working out at a gym. If you just, when you run into people, you say to them, because you're coming from this place of contribution and abundance, do you know anybody that I can, help buy, sell, or invest in real estate with? Because I'm a real estate broker. And you get unapologetically proud of being a real estate broker because you're helping people. Most people don't look at it like that, but if you do, you'll jump your income 50 grand.
Awesome. Any other questions?
Bueller?
Nope.
What's the most exciting thing you've seen change technology-wise
Well,
throughout real estate?
The most exciting thing I've seen change in real estate technology. Well, I got to tell you, man, fax machine wasn't invented when I started. So
What? Everything. What?
what's been fascinating is to watch the early adopters versus the latecomers in all of advancement of technology. Change is hard, right? But when you it's funny, but you think, I had an association of realtors that had big arguments during their board meetings that the fax was not legal and they wouldn't use it, and there had big votes. Are we going to allow it in the MLS? And I remember when the first MLS came out in teletype, like you're going to get like a grocery store receipt, and there were abbreviations, because before that there was a secretary, back when I think you could say that word. I'm not sure you can say that word anymore. But there was an administration office that kicked out a book twice a month to every realtor, and everybody that got new listings had to supply those sheets to the book. And so you could have like pocket listings for 2 weeks at a time if you timed it right? Because it was just not there. And then when all of a sudden you go from that to, I remember people saying, what's a PDF? What's a JPEG? What the hell is all this about? And as an owner, it was difficult, guys. Try to remember this. Like, do you remember pop-ups when tech first happened and the internet first started? Anybody remember that? You'd just be watching your computer and then all of a sudden something would pop up that's not supposed to be there, like pornographic stuff. I was.
All right, gotta go, guys.
And that's time.
Nothing like sitting with a client and all of a sudden somebody's like, I had a bunch of dudes in my office and I was paying a lot of money every month to stop pop-ups from happening. So yeah, it's been a lot of crazy and the arguments. That's the thing. The change is inevitable. So just like this isn't going to ruin the world, right? Everything that's new, there's always this group of people that are like, this sucks. This ain't going to work. That's not what I do. Reality is the funny thing about real estate. It's a career that is never ending. You're never going to know it all. And if you're around somebody that thinks they know it all, then run away from it. Because you can learn from every single person. Every single one of us has a life experience way before real estate, and we can all draw collectively from that. That's why the bigger we get, the more powerful we become, because we're unified in that message that we're all learning from each other. And that's what Jan Ellingson's all about, right? So anyone else?
I think that's
So
it.
it's going twice.
And that's
That's
time.
it.
Thank you, everyone. If you are joining our contracts class, you can stay on and take a break. Maria, you look beautiful.